You know, guys, judging of how that season 1 is a slow pace when it comes to the relationships growing with these characters, it made me convinced onto why that this season has more episodes in comparison to later on. Well, it's cut down to 26 episodes. Secret Team, while not one of my favorite episodes, really shows that keeping a secret from one of the gems really shows that these characters are way farther apart when it comes to teamwork. Like after Tiger Millionaire and the Giant Woman episode, it really shows that these characters are slowly developing when it comes to a close relationship. In this episode, Steven, Amethyst, and Paul accidentally released gems from a bubble that are really corrupted, and they need to form a secret team to keep it from Garnet, mainly trying to get all the shadow gems all in one place in order to keep the secret from Garnet. But considering that Steven wants to do more with the secret team, this really shows that Steven just really wants the secret team format to work out no matter what really happens. But then again, this is season 1 Steven we're talking about. Before they tried to find the missing shards, Steven gave Paul and Amethyst VIP pizza cards that he calls the secret team. I'm gonna be truthfully honest. When it came to Steven's perspective on doing the secret team, it kind of shows that he really wants to be legit when it comes to forming a secret team and doing these types of stuff to hide anything from the other characters. And considering that his intentions wasn't really intentionally trying to make the characters come together, unlike in Giant Woman, I'm convinced that the ending, well, Garnet said to Paul and Amethyst that, so you can't get along unless you think I'm going to kill you. If you take that out of context, well, Garnet says, I'm going to kill you, which is a video that someone made. It really shows us the out of context when it comes to Steven Universe as a whole. I know it may not be intentional when it comes to the people who wrote this episode, but as far as I'm concerned, knowing full well that this is mainly an Amethyst and Paul episode, while not as good as Giant Woman, but mainly a continuation on trying to work together, while Steven is just forming a secret team, it really feels like that these characters aren't really getting along, especially since that after the many episodes where they try to get along. When it comes to the shards being loose after being released from the bubble accidentally, I'm gonna be really honest with you, considering that the corruption is what Garnet is afraid of when it comes to Force fusion, I'm really starting to convince that the reason why she shows no fear whatsoever is because they're saving that for the season 2 episode. And judging of how that this episode is mainly focusing on Amethyst and Paul just trying to find the shards, with Steven taking it along when it comes to the secret team, which leads to Steven telling the truth to Garnet about him just trying to get Paul and Amethyst along. Believe me when I say this, what Garnet said later on, like I described, is really truthful. Because as far as I'm concerned, it really shows that it's difficult for these characters to get along easily. And after season 1, they slowly are getting close together, which really shows of how far they come. And I'm gonna be really truthful, Garnet being the MVP in this episode really shows that she really isn't much of an MVP once we realize that she's just a fusion at the end of this season. And since that she sets up this whole magical arms that she has in order to teach Paul and Amethyst a lesson, believe me, it kind of shows that she is being the MVP the right way when it comes to how she was established in the first season before her gems got shadowed. Let me just be truthful when I say this, is that every time I think about how these characters are developed when it comes to the first season is mainly of how they just don't easily get along when it came to the major changes, as in Rose turning into Steven, which we're gonna get to much sooner or later. While this episode is predictable when it comes to keeping a secret from other characters, it doesn't automatically mean that this episode is weak. For what it is, it's alright. As far as I'm concerned, I prefer Giant Woman over this episode, but that's mainly the fact that that was the introduction of fusion of Opal from Amethyst and Pearl. When it comes to this episode being mainly us keeping a secret from other characters, it's what it is, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not a bad episode, but it's the least favorite of the episodes that I've watched from Season 1, and mainly the entire series. I'm giving this episode a 6 out of 10.